I agree. Well, here's a challenge for you. Now, I did this myself because I like to test everything on myself first. Um, but what I say to people is give yourself a week of using only positive language with your child, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's actually impossible. It's impossible to do that for a week. So it's like give yourself a day or give yourself an hour. Just start with an hour where you say to yourself, I'm only going to use positive language with my child for the next hour. What that basically means is not using any sentence that is negative. Not using any sentence that is negative for 1 hour when communicating with children. Do you understand how difficult that is?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not difficult during the night.
No, it's not.
Because she's not responding.
Yeah. It doesn't count. Doesn't count. You can't. I want my 1 hour at 2 o'clock in the morning. No, you can't have that because most of what children hear is in fact negative language. No or don't.
Mm.
No, don't touch. Don't go there. Don't do that. But it's most of what they hear. It's it's just the way we are. We're protective. We don't mean it as parents in a negative sense. We want our children to have a positive experience. But the language we use is really negative a lot of the time. And it affects the way the children experience things because in the end, they will be attracted to what they know and what is comfortable for them. And if it's comfortable for them, if they hear a lot of negative, they'll be attracted to that. They'll think it's it. And so I set up this competition for myself and my partner several years ago where I was like, okay, I want 1 hour where neither of us use any negative language with the children because just for fun, just for an experiment. And as I said, look, we'll do it for like money. Yeah. Every time I say a negative statement or a sentence, which is inevitable, then I will give you €1. And every time you say a negative sentence, you give me €1. Yeah. And it sort of balances itself out, right? So you're like +5 and then -5 and it balances itself out. But it's really interesting because it became impossible. After an hour, it was an absolute impossibility to communicate using only positive language. And then if we think about how we communicate with, not just with children, but with everyone around us, our partner, our colleagues, there's a lot of negative phraseology and negative language. There's a lot of no, I don't, I won't, I can't. And it affects how we relate to people and how we see the world. And the basic element is that we're much happier around positive people than we are around negative people. We're just much happier if we surround ourselves with people who. It's a difference between what is tolerated and what is celebrated. To tolerate something is to live with something that you don't enjoy very much, and to celebrate is to live with what you are happy with and appreciate it and acknowledge it. And if we can use language that more celebrates everything, which is positive, then we tend to have a better experience. It doesn't mean ignoring the negative. It just means finding a practical way to communicate the problem to people, which is difficult in business. We've all got, there's a problem, I have to communicate it to somebody. How am I going to do it so that they're okay and they don't see it as an attack and they don't want to kill me? Yeah. Which is a lot of the problem with the dynamics of communication. Anyway, yeah, it's just interesting how negative we are with children, always telling them and think about it like this. Imagine a school room in a school, and imagine the room is full of books, which is nice.
Mm.
And imagine the child wants to read a book. There's a high probability that the teacher will say, I want you to read this book, which is saying yes to one book, but no to maybe 200 other books.
Mm.
So we're limiting a person's experience. And that the negativity is almost always there in the background of our interactions with children, limiting their experiences. And naturally, because the world is dangerous and we want them to be safe. But then there's another side to that as well.